These projects were meant to be masterpieces. Instead, small mistakes turned into billion-dollar disasters, abandoned structures, and financial nightmares. One wrong calculation was enough to destroy everything. Join us, and let's uncover the most expensive construction mistakes in history. Let's go.
Number 10. Aquadom Berlin Aquarium Collapse. Berlin, Germany witnessed a catastrophic failure when the Aquadom, once the world's largest freestanding cylindrical aquarium, suddenly burst in December 2022. This massive structure stood 25 meters tall with an 11-meter diameter inside the Radisson Blu Hotel. It contained over 1,500 tropical fish from 100 species swimming in 1 million liters of saltwater. An elevator ran through the center, giving visitors an underwater experience unlike anything else. The attraction opened in 2004 after the ambitious $18 million project wrapped up in 2003. Advanced acrylic panels showcased cutting-edge aquarium technology, but maintaining such a massive aquatic habitat proved incredibly challenging. Regular cleaning, water filtration, and temperature control systems were crucial for keeping the fish, hotel guests, and visitors safe. Operating costs ran into millions annually, reflecting the complexity of keeping everything running smoothly. On December 16, 2022, disaster struck early in the morning. The acrylic cylinder shattered catastrophically, releasing over 1 million liters of water into the hotel lobby and surrounding areas. The collapse destroyed the entire aquarium and tragically killed nearly all the aquatic life inside. The force was so intense that local seismographs registered shockwaves from the incident. Investigators blamed material fatigue in the acrylic structure. Despite routine maintenance, the tank's design and construction failed to properly account for long-term stress and environmental factors like temperature fluctuations. The investigation revealed a massive temperature difference between the warm water inside and the freezing air outside the night before the incident. This dramatically weakened the acrylic panels, ultimately causing their failure. Rebuilding the Aquadom would cost millions, but nobody knows if restoration will actually happen.
Number 9. Intempo Building, Benidorm, Spain. Benidorm, Spain became home to one of architecture's most embarrassing blunders when developers completed a 47-story luxury residential tower in 2021. Standing 202 meters tall as Spain's fifth tallest building, this project started with grand ambitions during the country's early 2000s real estate boom. Two parallel towers connected by a diamond-shaped structure at the top were supposed to redefine the Mediterranean coastline and attract wealthy buyers seeking premium apartments with ocean views. Construction kicked off in 2007, but the 2008 financial crisis hit hard. Developers pushed forward despite mounting money problems, and that's when the cracks started showing. The original plans included a service elevator system, but when the building height jumped from 20 to 47 floors, nobody thought to extend the elevator shaft to reach the upper levels. Workers faced dangerous conditions climbing stairs to reach the top floors. In 2013, an under-construction elevator collapsed, injuring several of the 13 workers inside. Emergency vehicles couldn't even access the construction site properly because of design failures. This oversight became symbolic of deeper issues plaguing the project. Budget overruns piled up, legal battles erupted, and delays stretched the timeline. The building took 14 years to finish instead of the planned timeline. Even after completion, the $155 million tower struggled to find buyers. Its reputation as a failed project stuck, tarnishing what could have been an iconic addition to Spain's skyline.
I'm going to ask you a simple question. Are you a naturally curious person? If you're watching, I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. This space is made for people like us. To ensure you're always part of this community and receive all our latest discoveries, you just need to do one thing: subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to stay connected with us. Okay, now that you're part of our Legion of the Curious, let's move on to the next item.
Number 8. Big Dig Boston Tunnel Project. Boston's Central Artery Tunnel Project, known as the Big Dig, stands as one of America's most expensive and troubled infrastructure projects ever attempted. What started as a $2.8 billion project in 1982 ballooned into a $22 billion nightmare by completion. The concept emerged in the 1970s, led by Massachusetts Transportation Secretary Fred Salvucci.
By the 1980s, the Central Artery, built in the 1950s, had become a massive bottleneck for Boston's growing traffic. Daily congestion often lasted 10 hours, and forecasts warned it could worsen to 16 hours by 2010. The solution? Build a 5.6-kilometer tunnel beneath downtown Boston, connecting Logan International Airport through the Ted Williams Tunnel and incorporating the Bunker Hill Memorial Bridge. Construction finally kicked off in 1991 after years of bureaucratic obstacles and narrow congressional approval. The project involved tunneling beneath bustling downtown Boston without disrupting traffic on the elevated Central Artery above. Engineers compared it to performing open-heart surgery on a marathon runner. More than 161 miles of highway lanes, 80 miles of tunnels, and 4 major highway interchanges were constructed. One of the most complex tasks involved building a tunnel under South Station, a major rail hub, where unstable soil conditions required freezing the ground with refrigeration units to stabilize it during excavation. The project suffered a dramatic setback in September 2001 when a waterproof seal broke in a tunnel, flooding the site with 70,000 gallons of water per minute. Engineers avoided disaster by deliberately flooding the entire tunnel to equalize pressure and save its structural integrity. In 2006, a section of the tunnel ceiling collapsed and killed a motorist. Investigations revealed substandard materials and poor workmanship, triggering a massive safety overhaul. Hundreds of leaks were discovered in tunnel walls, causing flooding and raising concerns about long-term durability. The Big Dig wasn't fully operational until 2007, almost a decade behind schedule.
Number 7. Sochi Olympic Park abandoned Russia. Russia's 2014 Winter Olympics facilities in Sochi became the most expensive Olympic Games in history, with the country spending over $50 billion to transform a relatively unknown Black Sea resort town into a winter sports paradise almost overnight. The shiny facade of success hides a less glamorous reality of these megastructures becoming ghost towns after the Games ended. The Sochi Games involved creating a completely new Olympic park from scratch, developing numerous state-of-the-art sports venues, including a ski resort, bobsleigh track, hockey, and skating facilities, among others. While the Games themselves were spectacular, attracting athletes and spectators worldwide, the aftermath tells a story of grandeur turning into abandonment. Despite promises to transform Olympic venues into bustling centers for sports and tourism, many have seen little use after the Olympics. The Adler Arena, once the heart of speed skating events, was repurposed as an exhibition hall, a disappointing destiny for a facility that witnessed record-breaking performances. The Russian Grand Prix Formula One race, held at the Sochi Autodrome within the Olympic Park, stands out as a notable exception. However, this race last took place in 2021 and shows no signs of returning to the track. Rosa Kutor is a prettier alpine station. Although it continues operating and even hosts some international competitions, it struggles to attract the large number of tourists initially anticipated. Maintenance costs for these colossal facilities are staggering, with the Russian government bearing the financial burden to prevent total abandonment. After the Olympics, the park and its surrounding facilities cost the Russian government about $50 million annually in maintenance. The Sochi Olympic Park serves as a stark reminder that building massive infrastructure for a 2-week event without solid long-term usage plans creates expensive white elephants that drain public resources for decades.
Seoul, South Korea experienced one of modern history's deadliest structural failures when Sampoong department store collapsed in 1995. This tragedy highlights devastating consequences of poor planning, cost-cutting, and disregard for safety standards. Originally planned as a 9-story apartment complex, this $75 million project was abruptly converted into a department store by Lee Jun, chairman of Sampoong Group. This last-minute change required significant modifications to the design. Vital support columns were removed to accommodate escalators, and an additional floor was added. When the contracted construction company raised concerns, Lee Jun fired them and hired his own team, ensuring the project completed in 2 years. When the department store opened in 1990, it quickly became a commercial success, attracting approximately 40,000 visitors daily. Problems started emerging in 1995 when large cracks appeared on the 5th floor, designed as a food court. Instead of addressing the issue, Lee Jun ordered merchandise moved to the basement, ignoring the increasingly evident danger. On June 29, 1995, the situation worsened as cracks widened, leading engineers to warn that the entire structure risked collapse. An emergency meeting was held, but Lee Jun refused to evacuate the building, fearing revenue losses. Shortly after, he himself left the premises, leaving thousands of employees and customers in danger. At 5:52 p.m., disaster struck. The roof caved in, causing the entire south wing to collapse in seconds. 502 lives were lost, and more than 100 people were trapped in the rubble. This tragedy became the largest peacetime disaster in South Korean history. Investigations revealed systemic failures, from defective building design to corrupt practices during construction. Contractors replaced steel reinforcements with thinner, cheaper concrete slabs to reduce costs. Columns were reduced to make room for escalators, further weakening the structure.
Number 5. Lotus Riverside Shanghai Building Collapse. Shanghai, China made headlines in 2009 when a nearly finished 13-story apartment building within the Lotus Riverside complex toppled over completely intact. This rare engineering failure shocked the world. The Lotus Riverside was a high-end residential development consisting of 11 apartment buildings, marketed as luxury living space in one of Shanghai's rapidly developing urban districts. Each building stood 13 stories tall, offering modern amenities and sleek design to attract wealthy buyers. The complex finished in 2009 as part of Shanghai's booming real estate market, designed to serve the city's growing population. On June 27, 2009, disaster struck in the morning. One of the 13-story apartment buildings tipped over onto its side, landing almost completely intact and barely missing neighboring structures. Tragically, one worker who had entered the building to collect tools died during the collapse. Investigation revealed the root cause was terrible construction practices during excavation of an underground garage next to the building. Contractors incorrectly piled excavated dirt on one side of the building, creating uneven pressure on the foundation. Heavy rains further weakened the foundation, causing the building to tip over. The incident exposed major flaws in engineering oversight, soil testing, and safety standard compliance. The collapse revealed critical failures in China's broader construction industry practices. After the collapse, 9 key people from Shanghai Sunshin Construction were detained for further investigation. Meanwhile, property buyers within the complex demanded refunds and compensation, causing significant financial losses for developers.
Number 4. Sydney Opera House construction disaster. Australia's Sydney Opera House stands as an architectural masterpiece today, but its construction story is one of the most infamous in history. This UNESCO World Heritage Site, with its distinctive sail-shaped roofs, attracts over 6 million visitors annually. But getting there nearly bankrupted the project and destroyed its architect's career. Danish architect Jorn Utzon won an international design competition in 1957 with his bold vision. The structure's daring sail-like design aimed to evoke Sydney's maritime culture and push architectural boundaries. Utzon imagined a 3-phase construction process: the base, the curved shell roof, and the interiors. Construction began in 1959 with a modest budget of $7 million and a 4-year timeline. The project was already ahead of schedule because the government rushed to start before elections. This hasty approach triggered a cascade of challenges. Design adjustments expanded the number of halls from 2 to 4, and a faulty report on site stability meant foundations had to be rebuilt, causing delays. After 4 years, only the concrete base was complete. The real obstacles emerged in Phase 2. Utzon's vision of building shells covered with ceramic tiles proved difficult and expensive. Creating such unique shapes required revolutionary engineering solutions, and costs skyrocketed to $22 million by 1966, 3 times the initial budget. Tensions mounted when the newly elected government, led by Public Works Minister Davis Hughes, withheld funds and demanded detailed proof of work. Facing financial difficulties, Utzon threatened to resign, which Hughes quickly accepted. Utzon left Australia and never returned. Without Utzon, a panel of Australian architects completed the project. The shells were finalized 3 years later, their intricate design including over 1 million custom ceramic tiles. The final phase required completely new plans and an additional $17 million, bringing the total cost to $102 million, more than 14 times the original estimate. Despite this brutal journey, the Sydney Opera House opened in 1973 to worldwide acclaim. Its cultural and economic impact was immediate, recovering construction costs within 2 years. Although Utzon never returned to see his finished masterpiece, he received the Pritzker Prize in 2003, cementing his legacy as a visionary architect.
Number 3. Leaning Tower of Pisa. Pisa, Italy hosts one of history's most famous construction blunders. This 56-meter bell tower, started in 1173, was supposed to stand tall and straight beside the cathedral. Problems began immediately during the second-floor construction. The foundation, dug only 3 meters deep, proved completely inadequate for the unstable ground beneath. The subsoil consisted of clay, sand, and shells that shifted under the building's weight. By 1178, when workers finished the third floor, the tower already tilted noticeably. Builders tried compensating by adding extra height to one side, but this solution backfired spectacularly, creating the distinctive curved shape we see today. Construction stopped multiple times over nearly 200 years, mainly because of wars between Pisa and neighboring states like Genoa. These unplanned causes actually helped, allowing the unstable ground to compress and harden somewhat. The tower finally reached completion after 2 centuries of intermittent work. By the 1990s, the lean had worsened to a dangerous 5.5 degrees. After another historic tower suddenly collapsed in Pavia in 1989, Italian authorities shut down public access and launched major stabilization efforts. Engineers removed heavy bells from the top to reduce weight and installed steel cables with lead counterweights. Between 1990 and 2001, restoration teams spent over $25 million carefully excavating soil to reduce the lean to a safer angle below 4 degrees. Today, a conservation group called Opera della Primazziale Pisana monitors the structure constantly, ensuring ongoing preservation work continues. The tower stands proudly despite its flaws, becoming a global icon precisely because of its construction defect.
Number 2. Mirabel Airport, Montreal abandoned. Canada's Montreal Mirabel International Airport represents one of aviation history's most spectacular failures. Conceived in the 1960s during the jet age euphoria, Mirabel was supposed to replace Montreal's Trudeau Airport, accommodating an expected surge in international travel. It officially opened in 1975, boasting one of the world's largest airport zones, with over 70 square kilometers, bigger than the island of Montreal itself. Mirabel was built with capacity to handle 50 million passengers per year, a number that contrasts dramatically with its peak usage of just 2.8 million passengers in 1979. The airport's downfall was triggered by several critical failures. First, its location was impractical. Situated 39 kilometers northwest of Montreal, it was too remote for most travelers, lacking direct road or rail connections to downtown. In its early days, getting there felt like a journey in itself. Second, by 1997, Mirabel's focus had been limited exclusively to cargo and charter flights, significantly diminishing its role. Its vast passenger facilities echoed with emptiness, leading to complete closure of passenger operations in 2004. Mirabel's passenger terminal, once filled with travelers, transformed into a ghostly expanse of unused gates and empty corridors. Efforts to revive or repurpose Mirabel were consistently frustrated by its original design and location failures. Although the cargo sector continued operating, the vast majority of infrastructure sat idle, leading to demolition of the passenger terminal in 2016. Despite its failure as a passenger hub, Mirabel found a niche in aircraft manufacturing and maintenance. It's home to Bombardier Aerospace, which uses the extensive property to assemble various aircraft models. The site serves as a reminder that building massive infrastructure without proper location planning and realistic passenger projections leads to colossal waste.
Number 1. Walkie Talkie Building, London, melting cars. London's financial district got a wild surprise in 2014 when a brand new skyscraper started literally melting stuff on the street. The building, at 20 Fenchurch Street, nicknamed the Walkie Talkie because of its distinctive shape, turned into a giant magnifying glass that nobody saw coming. Designed by architect Raffaele Vignoli, this 38-story office tower stands 160 meters tall with a unique design that bulges outward at the top. The idea was to maximize rentable office space while creating a striking addition to London's skyline. The building's south-facing facade was made entirely of reflective glass, designed to improve energy efficiency through natural ventilation and solar gain. Sounds smart on paper, right? Wrong. The curved glass acted like a massive concave mirror, concentrating sunlight into an intense beam aimed directly at the street below. This created what locals called the death ray that reached temperatures over 90 degrees Celsius at the focal point. A Jaguar parked on the street had parts of its exterior melt, bicycle seats warped beyond recognition, one barbershop's doormat caught fire. Videos went viral showing people frying eggs on the sidewalk. The heat was so intense it damaged shop facades and made the sidewalk unbearable to walk on during certain times of day. But wait, there's more problems. The building's aerodynamic shape created powerful downdrafts, sending wind gusts that knocked pedestrians off their feet and ripped signs off nearby buildings. The Walkie Talkie became a public hazard for both people and property. The reaction was swift and brutal. The building won the Carbuncle Cup for being the ugliest building in the United Kingdom. Developers were forced to install a brise soleil, basically a giant sunshade, on the south facade, at an estimated cost of $10 million to fix the glare problem. Despite these corrections, the Walkie Talkie remains a cautionary tale in modern architecture about prioritizing aesthetics over practical consequences.
Still curious? Then don't stop now. The next mystery is already waiting for you. Just click the video on screen. I saved it just for you. See you there, curious one.